Hello, this is Aaron, your local realtor in Northern California. Today I just wanted to go over some of the stats for the California Association monthly release about the market. So this is a 50-something page document. Usually, I'm not going to go over every single slide. Sometimes they kind of duplicate it in different ways, and some of the data isn't quite as relevant to others. So let's just dive in and check it out. The California housing market snapshot. In July, there was 279,000 home sales, which is quite a bit. That's plus 4% year over year. The median price here was $866,000, which is up 6.5% over the last year. Unsold inventory is 2.9 months, up 16% over last year. So, hey, houses are expensive right now, and there's a lot of inventory sitting on the market. While that may be a little bit intimidating, there are some strategies in which you can use this to advantage. Find a house that's been on the market for a couple of months, 100 days. Offer them less. I've been seeing houses go for 30% under asking. There's a bunch of price reductions that are going on. Nobody asks, and these people are dropping their house by $100,000, 10, 15, 20%. So imagine how much they'll drop it if you ask. Median days on the market is plus 25% at only 20 days. So 20 days on the market isn't actually that long. We're still having a decent amount of turnover, but it's definitely up from last year. So start with Southern California here. Existing home sales, 11.4%. And the average home price is $881,000. 2.9 months of inventory, 21 days on the market. Sale price to list price, 100%. That's actually quite interesting. That means people are getting what they are asking for it, which let's see if that's the same with other regions. Central is more expensive at $1,000,064,000. Home sales are up almost 6% on average. Unsold inventory is 3.3 months, but the median days on the market is only 18. Sale price is 99.2%. So almost everyone is getting what they're asking for here. Central Valley, well, look at the difference here. Obviously, the Central Valley doesn't have the infrastructure and the jobs to support it that some of these other areas do. But if you work from home and you still want to stay in California, the houses are half the price in Central Valley. They are basically the same here. 3 months of unsold inventory, 20 days, 100%. All right, Bay Area, this is where I'm at. Year over year, existing home sales up 20%. Well, isn't that something? There's a lot of sales. And, prices have come down here, but as we can see, sale price to list price ratio is 101%. So people are getting over what they are asking in the Bay Area. Despite all of the bad news for the Bay Area, we are still seeing records being set with the average existing home price at $1.3 million for the Bay Area, plus 3.6%. Wow, that is quite the home price. Okay, the far north, the only place in California to see a decline in home sales. This is the far north. And home price is at $386,000. So it's basically $1 million less if you go up to the north of California. 4.6 months of inventory. Wow, so there's a lot of houses up there. There's a lot of stuff on the market, and there's deals to be had. Sales price, this one is the lowest at 97.3%, and it has, I believe, the highest days on the market. So that's quite something. Basically, the Bay Area and Southern California are on fire. Central and Northern California are faltering, or at least they don't have the same luster that the other ones do. Sales in July jumped to the highest level since February. I don't know if that's the right way to present this information. I would say home sales ticked up barely. We had a huge crash here that you can see from January, September, and May. And then January, September, and May again, this has basically been flat. So last year we had a huge crash in home prices. There was a big appreciation after COVID, and then it just came ripping down. And now you can see that it is at depressed levels again. And this is actually kind of interesting. Home sales have not shot back up. So they have just hinted, let's say, the Federal Reserve that they're going to lower rates in September. And they use really funny language. They say, we're considering thinking about lowering rates. And then as it gets closer, they'll say, oh, we're thinking about considering lowering rates. So they kind of play this weird game, but according to the dot plots, they are going to be lowering interest. And of course, what that usually does is send home sales up and up. But as you can see, this is the largest depression of home sales that we've seen on record in this data set. So instead of seeing a rebound in 2023 and 2024, we've actually seen a steady, could this be a new norm? We've seen a steadying out of the home sales. And this makes sense. You know, this doesn't show price, but a lot of people have been priced out of the market. So, you know, there's less sales as a result. Year-over-year sales bounce back after 2 consecutive months of decline. So this is all January. You can see there was an extreme year-over-year change. This graph is a little bit hard to read, so it says 100% here basically, or 80%, but that's a year-over-year change. That doesn't mean there was 200% more homes that were sold. That means that there was twice as many homes that were sold on a year-over-year change basis. Bay Area sales ricochet strongly. So you can see here, it's basically the same graph, but up 20%. And I've seen this, you know, Bay Area has come down 15 or 20%, even more depending in some areas. I actually had one house I was following, it was 3.5 million and it just sold for 2.3 million. So that's quite a big drop there. And so it's no wonder that sales are up. Someone is investing, and people who couldn't afford it last year are affording it. And, you know, stock prices have continued to go up. So that does make sense. Same thing for Southern California, not quite as pronounced. Central Valley, same thing, 10%. It's definitely up from last year. Home sales by region, of course, Southern California has the most people here, so it is going to have the most sales. Interestingly enough, the Central Valley has had an equal number of sales to the Bay Area. Sales at the top of the market pick up the pace. And this is going to be for California because a lot of the high-end sales are actually investment properties, and a lot of the lower-end sales or medium sales are going to be just single-family residence for people who need houses. And the high-end properties is going to be, I've seen a lot of this. Was it Martha Stewart? No, it was Ellen DeGeneres who sold her mansion for $30 million. I don't know if she sold it. She listed it. So there's been a bunch of these high-end mega mansions which will just push these stats way, way up. Sales growth at the top of the price segment accelerated. This is basically just iterating the same thing again. Same thing again. Give me one. Okay. Pending sales rose above last year's level. Just kind of go through this, see what's interesting. Pending sales pulled back from the previous month. You can see that there's some big cycles here. These will correspond to interest rates.